Get ready for the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's still
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Steel Realtor Show, available for download at wheelhouseradio.com and wrestlechat.net. Episode number 103 for February 2nd, 2012. We are in the month of February, which means we are closer and closer to WrestleMania 28. It is now official. The road to WrestleMania has begun, and we begin it now on this week's edition of the Steel Realtor Show. And joining me this week for the post-Rumble first show on the road to WrestleMania 28, over in Philadelphia, not too far away from the ECW arena. On one side, I have big-time Benny Lopez. Benny, how are we?
Doing good.
And the Redneck Revolution rise up, because down in North Kakalaki, we have the one and only Captain Obvious. Captain, how are we this week?
Doing really well. The Redneck Revolution growing as always. Apparently now I'm getting requests that we are now international Redneck Revolution, as I'm getting people from like England and the United Kingdom who are big fans of the show wanting to be part of the Redneck Revolution.
Wow, that is pretty cool. You know, one of the weird things about this show, maybe unique, because weird is kind of makes it look negative. So unique, it's a little bit more positive here, is this show has a pretty good following internationally in the UK. I almost want to say that we have possibly more UK fans than American fans here in the American soil. Just shadows of Titan Towers in the Connecticut area, which maybe after WrestleMania we do some sort of angle with all those international fans taking on our American fans. We'll make a Survivor Series. It'll be the Foreign Fanatics versus the All-Americans one more time. I don't know, something to think about there. But, boys, it is post-Royal Rumble, road to WrestleMania 28. Eric Arjulo cannot be with us this week. He is a very, very busy man, and as expected, open-door policy on this show, to be blatantly honest. He is getting ready for the welcoming of his first child, and he'll be taking some time off. And as we're here in the road to WrestleMania, I want to try to keep doing a lot more of these shows where we have Benny and Captain on in the meantime, because, you know, we're going to get as many, you know, voices on such subjects as the Royal Rumble. I mean, we'll talk about the Royal Rumble today. We'll talk about WrestleMania 28 main event predictions. You know, Mike Tyson getting inducted in the Hall of Fame, and, of course, The Undertaker returning. So you'll be seeing, as many of our hardcore fans out there call this, the Freebird rule. Will be a little bit more on the Still Realtor show for weeks to come, if schedules obviously permit them to happen. Boys, let's kick right into it. The road to WrestleMania 28 officially kicked off this past Sunday night in St. Louis, Missouri, right after the Royal Rumble, which was won by not Chris Jericho, not Randy Orton, but Sheamus. I was as shocked as most wrestling fans, I believe, were, that Sheamus, of all people, has earned himself the right to have a main event title match at WrestleMania. I say that because he hasn't selected the title yet. Obviously, we'll get into predictions on that. But Sheamus wins the Royal Rumble, his second Royal Rumble, a guy who a year ago at this time was not even being showcased on television. He may have been in an Elimination Chamber match. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But I definitely know he was involved in the dark match at WrestleMania. And as of right now, should he choose the World Heavyweight Championship, he would take on the person that he had the dark match with at WrestleMania 27, Daniel Bryan. But nonetheless, I regress a little here. Sheamus is our Royal Rumble winner. I'm just going to ask the both of you this blatantly, honestly. Did you ever see Sheamus winning this match? Benny, I start with you. Any inkling whatsoever that as we watched the Royal Rumble, when it was over, next night on Raw, that we would be talking about the Celtic Warrior, the Great White Sheamus, as the winner of the Royal Rumble?
It's funny because during the Rumble, I had a few people here, but one of my friends who hasn't watched wrestling in a long time was over. And, I stole this one idea from Brett before. We have like a sheet and, random questions about the pay-per-view where people answer and, the most points gets a prize or whatever. And, he asked, he was like, how come you didn't, make up a question, who wins the Rumble? I was like, this year it seems like it's going down to two people. So it would have been kind of 50-50 either way. And he was like, well, what if that guy Sheamus wins it? And, this guy does not watch wrestling hardly at all. He just recognized Sheamus from an episode of Raw like weeks ago or something. And I was like, I don't know. I doubt that. But, And then as the night progressed, he was like, I'm telling you, I think Sheamus might win. And, he was the only person in a room full of wrestling fans that I guess believed in Sheamus. And I honestly, looking back at Sheamus's push as of late, I guess it's not the hardest thing to believe. The man's been on a roll as of late. He's feuding with every heel on SmackDown. Whenever somebody's out of line, he's almost on every show. He's been unbeatable pretty much. I guess it sort of makes sense.
I tell you what, your friend should have probably bet on that Royal Rumble if they were doing odds in Vegas, which I'm sure they were. Captain Obvious, how shocked were you, or maybe not shocked, that Sheamus was the winner of the 2012 Royal Rumble?
I was pretty shocked. I mean, it was an unexpected twist to a night that, up until the end of the Rumble, had been kind of gone off as ever expected, and almost to a disappointment degree. But then again, I mean, the WWE keeps showing faith in Sheamus. I mean, the guy's won multiple world titles. He's been the king of the ring. Now the winner of the Rumble. I mean, that's not a lot of guys at his age and his time in the WWE can actually match what he's done so far.
It's funny because we would post up news items up on WrestleChat.net back in say October, November time, and the early favorite at that time for the Royal Rumble was Sheamus. There was rumors that he would win the Royal Rumble, which made sense at the time because he was really getting pushed hard. He was in that Survivor Series match there with Randy Orton, and he and Orton were the co-captains basically. And they were thinking that it was going to lead to a match with he and Mark Henry. Mark Henry was really working this angle as basically a bully, and here is Sheamus, who not only inside the ring but outside the ring plays this anti-bully role in their WWE's Be a Star campaign. So it made a lot of sense at that time that Sheamus was going to win it. As time wore on and more, rumors were coming out there that Chris Jericho was coming back, that he was going to win the Rumble, and St. Louis, Missouri, Randy Orton's been out with an injury. What perfect instance, similar like we saw back in I think 2010 when Edge won the Royal Rumble coming off of an injury, and same thing with John Cena back in 2008 at MSG. Coming off of injuries, I thought we were going to see Randy Orton. Eric Arjula was a guy who really thought it was going to be Chris Jericho. So, I mean, if we really look back in the history leading up to the Rumble, say around Survivor Series time, the rumors of Sheamus being the Rumble winner, maybe we should have stuck with the our original thoughts. I mean, I really thought he was going to win it, and as time wore on and the way the booking was going on, it really did not look like Sheamus was going to be the Royal Rumble winner. So I asked you guys this. Sheamus is going to be in the main event for one of the world title matches at WrestleMania. Basically, WrestleMania 28 makes up of now 4 main event matches. Rock, Cena, let's just throw this out there. I'm sure we'll talk about it later on the show. Triple H, Undertaker, 3. And then you got the 2 world title matches, World Heavyweight Championship, WWE Championship. What title does Sheamus challenge for, 1? And 2, who do you think will be the champion at WrestleMania 28? I mean, you're going to see a lot more of these predictions on the coming weeks here, as we're about, let me think about it, quick math, 8 weeks away from WrestleMania 28. So a lot of these predictions coming up here on every one of these shows leading up to WrestleMania 28. So I ask you guys once again, which title, which champion does he face? Captain, I start with you.
Well, I mean, I tend to think that it's going to be Daniel Bryan. I think that's the most interesting dynamic of mixture. And somebody had said, you said it earlier about how it is kind of ironic that what the dark match for WrestleMania was last year for the U.S. title could very well be the main event this year.